I am Catherine Rabett, and I played Cissy Meldrum, the daughter of the house.
I am Sorel Johnson, and I played Penelope Barrington-Blake, the girlfriend of Cissy.
Went to an audition with David at the BBC, and I had no idea what it was for really, or anything about it much. I guess I must have received a script. I think the brief must have been not that she was gay, but she was quite butch. I don't think they ever used the word gay. I don't think, but it was very clear that that's sort of what he wanted, or that alluded to. And I have a marvelous, now sadly dead, great aunt in Northumberland called Great Aunt Romy, who was master of the foxhounds and various things. And she wore gentleman's clothes, and she used to do a very funny thing by rubbing her thighs when she spoke with her legs far apart. And so I basically did an impersonation of Aunt Romy. And David looked slightly appalled and said, do you think you could bring it down a bit? So I did. And I went back a second time and read again. And that was that.
I've got such an awful memory. I'm trying to remember if I did go for an audition, because I can't remember doing it. What I remember is doing Heidi High. And I think they must have called me in. And I don't think I went for more than one. I think I went for one meeting, and that was that. Because they I didn't know
that you'd done Heidi High, I don't think.
Yeah, I did one episode of Heidi High, and it was a kind of pastiche of a Second World War movie, and I was a WAF, and it was great. I like all the style stuff as a style, even though I went to a comprehensive. I like to do all the style stuff. It was it was all terribly clipped, you know. I'll be waiting.
Fun.
Yes, it was good, very good fun. I had a very tall actor opposite me, and I had to be hugged by him. And I think I hit a kind of second button down with the top of my head. That was so tall. But they remembered me from that, so they called me in.
I doubt in that case that you did audition. I mean, he was really good. That was what he was so good.
Yeah, no, he was. And he trusted actors to bring the performance as well.
I think David had a very good eye. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he remembered people, as evidenced by the fact that he reused people a lot. Even people who you see playing tiny parts in Dad's Army suddenly materialize in various others of his shows, in either bigger or more interesting or different. But no, it's good.
Yeah, they were both amazing that way. They cherished people. And they gave you permission to do things without too much direction. I think that was one of the facets I always remembered. There was that rehearsals are so brief because everyone brought their performance with them, and they were kind of. Go on.
We had very funny time because I was always just slightly wanting to change very tiny things, and you'd go to David and you'd say, could I just change that very, very slightly? Just say that instead, because I think it'd be right. And he went, yes, very good, dear. Now go and say what I wrote. I never learned.
Yes,
obviously he was the master of comedy, and I was not.
I don't know about that, Katie. Well. She was such a strong character, though. I mean, Cissy, I always think of Cissy as her, rather than as you, which is a testament to how strong the character.
Well, that's very nice. Years and years ago, somebody came to see me in the theatre and went, "This is my cousin, actually," and went, "Well, we completely forgot it was you." And I thought, well, that's got to be good. But I mean, the Cissy character has such a following, particularly we've been to Budapest not recently, before COVID. We were supposed to be going back, and there is a massive fan club in Budapest, in Hungary rather, and they show Urang Lord all the time, rather as we show Friends. Actually, we were completely astonished. I don't know, Andrew, whether you've heard this said, but it is really, we were so shocked to find this fan base, but Cissy particularly. And there are an awful lot of young gay women for whom Cissy Meldrum and Penelope were the first first gay kiss, but also the first really visible gay characters in a sort of very relaxed family sitcom-y sort of atmosphere. So it wasn't like a big drama thing so young kids could watch it. And if they were having sort of issues with their sexuality and stuff, that they were sort of, you know, albeit comedic and exaggerated role models. But it was really heartening and marvelous to see.
I think
sorry, Penny, I'm sorry, Sorrel. I'm just gonna, if I can find it.
Go on.
I was going to find the girl with the tattoo.
Oh yes, do. Yeah.
Oh golly, I'm so stupid. I should have gone and seen it. Very quickly, Andrew, I'll say I did one of those. Oh, here we are. I did one of the signing things that you do, you know, whatever. And at the very end of the day, a very young girl came up to me and she said, you know, I'm so excited to meet you. And she had what looked like it might have been her girlfriend with her. And sorry, I got fluff in my mouth. And she said, can I show you my tattoo? And the guy sort of minding me, looking after me, said, well, we're not sure about that. And I said, no, of course. And this is, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Hold on, let me get it. It's turning the wrong way up. Here we go.
Yeah, go on.
So on her shin, she had, can you see, Andrew, or not? The most beautiful, I mean, it's so, actually, as a tattoo, it's absolutely the most beautiful thing. And I thought, and there was sort of quite a lot of really big stars there, you know, really much more important than me. And they were like, well, we haven't got anyone who's got tattoos of that. So I was like, yes. It was very funny. Anyway, so somewhere out there, there's some girl, unless she's changed her allegiance, out there still with a tattoo of me on her leg.
I think it's one of those things that Katie and I have talked about this before. And I only found out a few years ago that, you know, because Anna Friel is always credited with the first gay kiss on TV, and it's not. It's not. So we need to say that more clearly, and for people to post it around the internet.
Absolutely.
I was so proud when I found that out, and I think it is actually what we both did. And I didn't think about it, and I don't think you thought about it.
No.
It was completely normal for us.
Absolutely. Some years later, a little while later, I was interviewed by Jan Rayner, not Jay Rayner, Jan Rayner, is that right? Claire Rayner, sorry, Jay is her son. Claire Rayner, who was on BBC Two or whatever. And she actually said to me, you know, why do you think that you should be taking the mickey out of gay women? And I went, we're not taking the mickey. I mean, the whole point about a comedy series is that all society is represented. If you don't represent the gay community, then you're doing them an injustice. So I came back quite strongly at her, and she, unusually for her, said, yeah, okay, fair enough.
So I think that was true, because neither of us thought it was strange. So we never played it that way, because it wasn't.
No.
And I think that's one of the things that is unusual about it. I mean, I do remember having a conversation because I was very touched that Jeffrey had a sort of campaign to get my character written up some more. It must have been in the third series, I think. And I was I was so touched by that everyone went up one by one to Jimmy and David and said, why don't you write up Sorrel's character more?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, it's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And Jimmy pulled me aside and said to me, Sorrel, we'd really love to, you know, write you some more into this, but our audiences won't accept an openly gay character like that. And I mean, this was what, 91, 92?
Yeah, something like
But
that. But it was 99, 91.
Yeah, and it's strange now to think about that. But actually,
absolutely.
Of course, it was so groundbreaking, and I didn't even realize, because
and yet they'd had Melvin Hayes. Melvin Hayes, is that?
Yes, that's right.
You know, who was so ostentatiously, well, camp, I guess, not gay necessarily, in It Ain't Our Pop Mum. And that
there
was
John Inman in
exactly.
Jeremy Lloyd as well.
Yeah,
I think it was there was tradition, but not of lesbian women, was there?
Exactly.
And we didn't play it as lesbian. We just played it.
Although you remember and I remember Jimmy coming up to us and saying, "Make the kiss longer," and David saying, "Don't pay any attention, just make it short." And Jimmy coming and saying, "Make the kiss longer," and David coming up saying, "No, don't do it what I said." Jimmy, you know, we were going, what do we do here?
What did we do in the end? I can't remember. Was it a halfway house?
I told Jimmy to And I said, I'm sorry, David has said the absolute opposite, so I'm sticking with the director. Sorry, Jim. In true Cissy
It was
manner.
lingering, I think. Lingering was how we
Momentarily lingering.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was interesting though. It's so interesting. I do find that fascinating. I feel quite proud of us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I still have quite a lot of the wonderful clothes, I have to say, and I really regret I didn't keep the shoes, because all the shoes were made for me. And it was such a look, great look. And Mary Husband, the most amazing costume designer, so brilliant. And I remember they wanted me to cut my hair initially, as it was short, and I had a very expensive wig made because I said I wouldn't. Can't remember how, it must have been quite long then, I suppose. And anyway, I did I think probably I did the pilot with a wig, and it was just rock solid. It didn't move, and I just went, okay. Oh, okay.
I had one of those. I had a wig made, something else. Yeah.
I said, okay, I will bite the bullet and I'll have it cut off. And my son was, however old he was, and as soon as I walked through the door with the short haircut, and he screamed the house down, "Who the hell is this woman?" Anyway, came down to it in the end.
I always remember you saying to me at the end of the 4th series that you were going to grow your hair now, because it would be the last time you were able to have long hair. Because you were past 30 or something. And then the next, years and years later, when we ran into each other for a casting, an M&S advert, I was like, hang on, your hair was so long.
My mother always used to say to me, "Darling, you don't want to be the sort of woman that some people in lorries look at the back of you and think, gosh, what a sexy young blonde. And then they get round the front and go, oh dear." Just remember my mum. So I thought, I don't care. So I have finally cut it, but it was, up until a few years ago, very long. It got ridiculously long, actually. I was definitely one of the, the disappointments to the lorry drivers.
It was the first one with the tango. I loved doing the tango.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was really great. And it was, I suppose, all the excitement of having everything on the, little beaded hats, and that Mary got me as well. I'm sorry.
You were lucky because I had to wear a white tie, and the stiff collar, I think it was a white tie or black, so I can't remember which. It definitely had a stiff collar, I think, in that scene. Hellish uncomfortable. But anyway, the really wonderful, sorry, Sorel, you weren't there, but when we all went, it was an outside filming, and of course David filmed around Norfolk and Suffolk because that's where he lived, and so do I, coincidentally. And we filmed at a lot of locations of either friends houses or whatever, and our so-called country house was a house called Bayfield Hall up the road here, and they had the cook's wedding there and various other things. And my the flying one, that was amazing. The flying scene, I've forgotten about that. There's so many things I've forgotten about. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is really easy to forget about them. It's strange, isn't it, when you have those memories triggered again, and they start to kind of reinvent themselves and resurrect.
I've still got the flying jacket, which I'm afraid has got rather mothy, but it is rather wonderful. I don't suppose I'll ever wear it again because it's quite over stylized. But I couldn't bear to leave it. But, sadly, I never got to actually fly. It was a stunt person that flew. Got in and out the plane. Anyway, there we go. What else? Other scenes. Ooh. I suppose, I think probably the outside ones were really good fun. We had some really lovely outside stuff around about, and it was so nice because it was always in the summer. It was always, everyone stayed in the hotel in Swaffham here, I'm
not at all jealous about that.
No, sorry about that. One time they brought the entire staff, so it was the in theory it was the staff picnic. So they took all the staff from the London house in a mini bus, or a charabanc, whatever those days, and they came and had the picnic. And there is the most beautiful scene with Susie Bran, sorry, so not Susie Bran, Sue Pollard, being so touching and so moving, sitting under a tree, just being, and her acting is so good. I mean, she's such a consummate actress, and she has this reputation as being a very zany, mad kind of comedienne, but her straight acting is so moving and so good. It was as regards watching the program, that was a high point, I think. So basically what happened was, at the beginning of the filming schedule, the whole thing, we did 3 weeks outside stuff, and then we did all the indoor stuff, which was all on a set at the BBC, and we would rehearse. I think, I can't remember,
Monday to Thursday.
Monday to Thursday. Monday, Tuesday we'd have, and then Wednesday, Thursday, the camera crew would come in, and they had several cameras on at once. And David was really strict about it. So when you went in on Friday, everybody, including all the crew, the sound guy, everybody knew what was going on. So the audience came in, they showed on the screen above the ones the scene in chronological order. So it was as if they were watching an episode, an external scene, and then we would do the scene on the set. And there was sort of 3 or 4 sets on in the studio. And then the next scene, and he very, very rarely had to pick up a line, or it's only obviously when I forgot something, or can we just do Kate's line again? Mostly we just ran the whole thing, which meant that the audience, unlike other programs that I've been involved in, and you probably have, where the director doesn't really know what they're doing, and you end up doing things. And I remember going to, probably might have been the Kenny Everett show, which wasn't actually Kenny's fault, it was the director's fault. We started at 5 and we were still there at midnight, more or less, because really? They just don't know. I remember my father coming and going, when can we go home? But David, we were in and out. We were usually in the car by sort of 10, 10:30. The audience would come in at 7 or something.
He just had it all framed, and everything ran like clockwork.
Yeah, mainly because David and I would then toddle up in our separate cars up the A11, and then round the M25, and then up the M11, and go off to our separate houses in Suffolk, Norfolk. He wanted to be home on a Friday night in time for a large gin and tonic and a bit of a sit down. He knew they all knew what they were doing. It was, he had it like a regimental organization. It was amazing. Brilliant.
It's always got on as well. There was always a kind of sense that you really were part of a family where people really, everyone was respected and cherished, and
true.
It was really good.
Previously discussed, Sorel got the good dresses and I got bloke's clothing, as we know. I've already told you about the wig.
Yeah.
We had amazing makeup people, and we've already spoken about Mary Husband in the costumes, and she's very, very strong character. And once or twice I ran up against her and said, no, I think she'd be wearing that. And Mary just went, nah, you wear what you're given. And it was the colours. I quite, occasionally I wanted to wear a different colour or something. She was right, always right. And you quite often went, less me, but probably you, Sorel, went to, Berman's and Nathan's, or one of the costume people occasionally, but mostly they were made, I think.
I think all of mine were made.
Were they?
Yeah, I think I can't remember going to Berman and Nathan's for that.
No, maybe not. I mean, I really, I think they chucked a lot of money at it, and it was worth it. It looked spectacular if you look at every single one. Of those things. I mean, I've already said about my shoes were made for me. They were brogues, but with heels. So they were bloke's shoes with heels, 2-tone brogues and all sorts of things like that. I had my own top hat made, I think. I mean, unreal, extraordinary. And the makeup, I had trouble with my monocle, which I've still got here, actually. Actually, that's not my monocle, that's a monocle, but it's not the right one. Ooh. So I had because of continuity, sorry Sorel, I'm hogging the chat, because of continuity, the monocle would fall out all the time in random places, and of course when you're in the middle of a line you can't remember quite where it fell out. So in the end I gave up on the monocle being used as an expression. So I used to drop it on a line for but it did very often fall out. And also I slightly felt it was beginning to give me I think I've still got a bag under that eye, because it was really hooked into your eye, and in the end I put double-sided on it, so it was just stuck in, which was a shame, because it could have been a useful prop to use, but it was just too temperamental, basically.
Yeah, no, I just had the kind of all the nice stuff where they. Well, I do remember Jimmy saying to me, "So you must come into the studio, so on." And he said, and then they do all the stuff, and you appear. And I was like, okay, yeah. What do you mean by that?
What did I look like before?
But it was, it was quite a big transformation that we used to go through. It's been hours, I seem to remember. I spent most of my memories are being in makeup.
Yeah.
Well,
it was fun. It was fun in makeup. I got into frightful trouble in makeup one day. Where had I been? I've been in the States or somewhere on a film or something. Maybe, I don't know, can't remember. But it was the American system whereby everybody runs about after you and you don't lift a finger, sort of thing. And I came back into the BBC, good old BBC, and I was sitting next to Paul Shane in makeup. And Paul Shane had an eye infection or eye problems. And he said, "Oh no, my eyes are really bad, and I'm not going to have time at lunch to run down to Elstree to the shops." And I went, "Can't you send a boy?" Oh my God, I got into so much trouble. They went, "Where do you think you are, Miss Uppity?" I went, well, can't somebody send a boy for you? So I got a boy. Absolute. Yeah, I had to get back in my box big time.
I always remember, I must say, because we used to spend a lot of time gassing in makeup.
Yeah.
The girls particularly would hang out and make up, go blah, 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 to each other all day. But by the evening, it was I had to stop, draw myself back from there, because I can get really tired, because you put out so much energy in the room as well, that you could actually just spend it all. And by the time the audience are in, but it was, so I had to watch myself with that, because it was a lot of fun. I do remember that.
We used to love the whole Elstree setup, because they had the big restaurant there, and you'd see everybody else. Actually, in the BBC rehearsal rooms, the old Acton BBC rehearsal rooms, we were shooting at the same time as a lot of, well, my friends, probably yours too. They were all doing Blackadder. So Rick Mail, bless his heart, and Stephen and Hugh and all of that lot used to sit next to us having lunch or with us or whatever, and it was such a party. And you used to see people you haven't seen for years, who are doing little bits and pieces here and there, and it was really nice.
Yeah, I liked it. We were running past it the other day. I mean, my partner, who's an actor as well, I'm going, it's such a shame it's not there anymore.
I know.
So many
it was
kind
great.
of memories in that building.
Absolutely, yeah. And they had the costume department next to that as well. So you just went around the corner and did fittings and stuff, which was really easy. Not so now, sadly. Donald were absolute legends, and obviously a partnership made in heaven, rerun of It Ain't Half Hot Mum's partnership. Donald was such a gentleman, so elegant, so gorgeous. He must have been such a gorgeous, sexy man back in the day. Well, he was quite sexy then. And Michael's too, so completely chalk and cheese. Actually, interestingly, Donald's character was quite like himself, whereas Michael's actually is very unlike himself. You've been to Michael's house. He's a lovely, straightforward family man. You don't really see you don't see the silly ass sort of at all. Whereas Donald, I think, is quite like himself, weirdly. Now sadly dead and much missed. I really was very, very fond of him. I worked with him on something else before, can't remember what, but such an they both of them could make anything funny. And I used to look at Donald used to say things and you just think that wasn't funny on the page at all. How did you do that? Really, really impressive. Susie Brand, well, I didn't know at all. I don't know.
I did.
You knew her already, did you?
I did a show in the West End, Daisy Pulls It Off, and
of course you did.
She was in the covers and that, yeah.
Well, she was my annoying sister. What can I say? I was annoyed by her. Not in real life, but no, I don't know what's happened to her. I think she came. That's right. When we went to Budapest, whenever it was, the year before last, 2 years ago, before COVID, and Susie came, and Michael and his lovely wife came, and it was we had an amazing time. So I have seen her. I don't think she's acting anymore. She got married to. Didn't she marry a vicar? Am I making that up?
That sounds about right.
I think she might have done. Anyway, I don't know quite what's
I
happening.
want to go next time. I'm just putting that on record.
Yes, you should come. I mean, what's her name? Oh God, mental blank. Who's a nice lady who played Michael's girlfriend? Amanda Bellamy. Yes.
Oh, well done. Yes,
yeah.
Of course.
I knew as soon as I stopped thinking about it, I'd remember. Anyway, and so she was there, and Sue Pollard and was supposed to be coming, then didn't at the last minute. Can't remember what happened. Jeff came, and we met all the people that dubbed us in Hungary.
Really want to see that.
And they were top actors. They got to do it, which was rather wonderful. And their voices had exactly the same timbre as ours. It was really, whoever did it, whoever chose them, really clever. So that was good. Sadly, my lady wasn't there for some reason. She was working, but everybody else is. There's one or two that missing. But I went back to. I'm actually doing a thing called Spooficat on Instagram with Izzy Van Randwick, which is like a comedy of errors. Really, it's a sort of a spoof on the way things like Bridgerton don't do things properly, unlike the way David and did. But I'm not really acting, but that I am actually acting at the moment. But I went back and did an art history degree, and I curate and I do picture research for big, art history books and stuff.
So I went, well, my career resurrected rather unexpectedly a couple of years back. So I've been doing various things like Men in Black and little, nice cameos. And I'm filming next week the Money Supermarket campaign, which is sort of ongoing at the moment. And I also, when my kids were little, I've got 2 children, so they've taken up quite a lot of time. And my son's just gone to university, and my daughter is a recording artist. And I went to university when they were tiny to do photography, and I now have a doctorate in photography. And I'm also an associate lecturer at King's in the medical humanities. And I do my own photography, and I'm doing a project with UCL as well. I used to do quite a lot of features as a recording artist, and my daughter now has that mantle.
I had to sing I'm really not a singer, but I sang the theme tune on that film I did with Rupert Everett called Real Life, which was, I had to sing it on Russell Harty show. It was so terrifying. I'm not really a singer. I played the flute on the B-side, much happier doing that.
I used to like doing actually singing commercials were one of my favorite things to do. So I was the singing voice of Nescafe Europe, where I had
how exciting.
That was it. Nescafe. That was all.
Money for old Rose.
Well, it was quite, they said, well, that's supposed to be the quickest £5,000 you could possibly earn, isn't it? It was quite a long time ago, but it was nice. I used to like things like that.
Very good. Perfect. Well, there you are. We've been doing lots of stuff. So much we can't really remember.
No. Well, the hazes of time.